Hi everyone in Mafia Movies. So my name is Cameron Varney and here's my video post for The Leopard. I apologize for the way I'm recording. I wish there was a way to screen record on my laptop. I know there is, but I've just been having issues with it. It's an older laptop, so just bear with me. Yeah. So how does this movie represent the Mafia and its connection to Italy around the time of vacation? So this movie really, in my mind, represents the beginning and the birth of the Mafia. And so I feel like we're getting to see the ins and outs of what is the beginning of the Mafia. Um, it's very different from what we see in The Godfather and the most recent film this week, in my opinion, just because of how new it is. And also, I feel like there is very much a difference in the Mafia that is in Italy and the Mafia that is Americanized. Um, and so that's something that I was able to pull from the movie as I continued to watch. And then identify at least two techniques in a cinematography in Miss Eskin scene that help shape the narrative. So one of my favorite scenes in the movie and one of the most memorable ones for me was the church scene. It was just very moving. There was two techniques that I really picked up on, one of them being gender. So Don Fabrizio versus Princess Maria Stella. This is something that I see throughout the movie. I always see this sort of conflict between them where he will tell her something to do and she's just supposed to be submissive and do it. And I feel like that's very representative of a lot of women in these Mafia movies that I have seen and we're going to continue to see, is that they're kind of kept out of the picture of what is going on, but they're told to do certain things by their husband or significant other or other men in their life, in their family, and they're just supposed to say yes. So there's this sort of submissiveness, and I thought this was a perfect example. And the fact that they were doing it while they were in church made it even more interesting to watch. They kind of bicker back and forth in the movie, but I was surprised that they were doing it while they were at church. And then, of course, family. The shot at the end of the scene is very memorable, how they all look exhausted. They're very dusty from being out in the desert. And it just goes through the shot. It just takes them through the entire family, and they all just look exhausted, but they're all there together. So I thought that was really important. And it was just overall just a very powerful scene. And to see these two techniques in play, that was very interesting. And include and examine critically one quote from Leak. So The Godfather's Leopard translated into American vernacular. I completely agree. I think a lot of people were off-put by this movie. They didn't think it was as interesting, but I saw a lot of comparisons to The Godfather. It was just a much more Italian version of that, whereas The Godfather is very Americanized for an American audience, but also it's the basis of where the movie is. There was a lot of similarities, especially with the two techniques that we just mentioned before, with family, with gender, a lot of the same concepts. And so the more I think of it, the more I see, and I saw this in the Lake reading, The Godfather and The Leopard are very, very similar. And I'm curious to see how many more movies are going to have that same similarities. And I believe that's it. Thank you.